That prophecy of the promised Messiah has always resonated with me because Cape Town is a corner of the world. So I feel that every day, every member, every Jamaat activity that we have is bringing that prophecy alive.
जिसके कलाम से हमें उसका मिला निशान है शुक्र रब्बे अज़्ज़ वजल खार जज़्ब बयान.
Since my posting to South Africa nearly a year ago, a question has lingered. Why has this 60-year-old Jamaat remained largely unknown? The best way to get an answer to that is to embark on a journey to meet some of its members in Cape Town, one of the busiest cities in South Africa, where a majority of the Jamaat members are found. The elders of the community is a good place to start. The National Sadr, an open book to their history, has surely seen it all. You'll be surprised to see that the Lajna hasn't been idle either. And that with proper guidance, the younger generation is moving in the right direction as well. Young and all active members have kept it going. And as the tumultuous history of South Africa, the community hasn't had it smooth all through its existence. Follow me as they share with me the vibrant yet turbulent history of their little-known Jamaat and offer a personal look into life as an Ahmadi Muslim in the land of Nelson Mandela. And in every story, there is a pioneer from whom it all began.
It so happened that in the late 1940s, a friend of my father, my father was a tailor. One of the friends came to tell my father that there's a man in Cape Town talking about the Messiah has appeared, you know. And that aroused my father's interest much more. And that is how they came to meet a person by the name of Dr. Yusuf Suleiman. Everyone, the whole family, was convinced of the truth of Jamaat Ahmadiyya. So officially in 1958, it was then established, you know. And we lived at 121 Church Street at that time.
67 years passed, here in the famous colourful Boekap area. The house where Ahmadiyyat first originated is still standing strong. As strong as the conviction of those who believed in the truth of Ahmadiyyat.
So during the early days, there was a large number of people that was interested in the Jamaat. They liked the teachings, they could understand it was based on logic and sound reasoning, and they started being drawn towards the Jamaat. That is when the local Muslim Judicial Council felt they need to take some action, and they passed sort of a fatwa to say you should not associate yourself in any way with the Ahmadis, they are kafirs.
In South Africa, the Sunni Islam is quite strong. There's many Sunni Muslims, and as soon as they hear that we are Ahmadis, they disassociate themselves from us. They no longer wish to be around us. They talk ill of us to other people. Sometimes family members or extended family no longer wish to be in communication with you.
I had a son and a daughter that passed away. First, my son was about three years old. And when he passed away, the people would say that the reason your son passed away is Allah is cursing you and you need to leave Ahmadiyya. So even on his janazah, people go in the road telling the neighbors, don't go to the janazah, this guy is cursed, his family is cursed, he don't want to listen. And people would sincerely come to me and say, leave this Jama'ah. And then my daughter also died from cancer. And now the people came to me and said, Abdulaziz, this is the final straw now. Allah is wiping out your whole family. And you can see it happening before your own eyes. You need to leave the Jama'ah. It's no good for you. If Allah would have loved you, this wouldn't have happened.
So they were standing on the balcony and they would shout from there, "Ya kafir, you are this," and swear words I don't want to use. Because I never swore, we never taught to swear.
And there was boycott also?
And boycott. And boycott even when I went to shop, either they throw the dingas or the second shop used to call us ugly names, swear words, and we couldn't go there and buy anything from that shop. The first one, your things were thrown to you. We were brought up, we became so strong that it's just the family and the Jamaat that we had.
In 1987, I was living in Rylands, and that same night, a petrol bomb was thrown at the house of Hussein Jafar Saib, was one of our senior members at the time, and in my house. Fortunately, the petrol bomb at his residence didn't explode, so no damage was caused. In the case of my residence, the entire front room, which was the room leading into the house, was burned down. With the result of that persecution, the landlord basically evicted us. He's saying, you're a high risk, why should we allow you to stay in my residence, etc. And immediately the action was taken that we should safeguard the mosque. So we should take turns to sleep in the mosque. Every night one member would go and sleep in the mosque to safeguard the property. We were more worried about they might cause damage to the mosque itself. Yeah. And that is how we united around that particular incident. In 1976, Bashir Orchard Sahib was appointed as our first missionary. He was a white Scotsman, as you know. So he fit the profile that there was a person who's got a British passport that can come to South Africa and be our missionary. Yet the apartheid government objected. As a white person, how can he be in charge of a non-white community? So he never actually had the opportunity to come to South Africa. And that is just a simple example of under apartheid that we couldn't practice our religion as we wanted to. Because it was a predominantly Christian country. They didn't see the differences between Sunni Muslim, Ahmadi Muslims, Barelvi, Hanafi, Shafi. It didn't make a difference to them.
They were all grouped together.
Exactly. So there was no difference to that. So under apartheid, it was almost impossible for us to go preach in so-called white areas. If we wanted to preach, it had to be in colored and black areas and Indian areas. So apartheid did, to a large extent, up to 1990, while it was still part of the statute of South Africa, we couldn't do anything in terms of penetrating into the white market. During those years, we published Al-Asr and Al-Bushra, and that was our primary means of propagation. So the Lajna had the Al-Bushra, and we had the Al-Asr as the main Jamaat organ of publication, and we used to print it regularly.
The Al-Bushra, the Al-Asr, I'll start with that, was initially published in 1959, followed by the Al-Bushra in 1960, under the auspicious guidance of the Ibrahim family. They worked as a family unit. They were the first established, they established the Ahmadiyya Jama'ah here in South Africa under the auspicious guidance of the second Khalifa. So they started it as on a very small scale, and it started off in their home as well. We used to sit at somebody's house and have the printed pages, put them in order, staple them, put them into envelopes, put stamps on them still while we used normal postal mail. We used to send these copies to the prisons as well. So we've had feedback from certain inmates in the prison that they found it spiritually uplifting to learn about Islam, to understand their errors in their ways, why they landed up in prison, and give them hope. So from that perspective, it seems that we could manage to do some level of tabligh. People would come because they have read, or they would call the mission house or the mosque wanting to know, we would like to meet with somebody, we want to learn about this. We've read it in the Al-Asr, we've read that your Jama'ah is doing the following work, or that you have celebrated certain events. We want to understand what it means. So we've had dialogue with people because of, as an outcome of the publications. We tried to focus on the Afrikaans community here so that they could get a understanding for those who are not conversant in English or can't understand English. And the selected verses was definitely a great success. I personally know that people would come and ask for copies, especially I have distributed copies to schools in the area and given to teachers so that they could use it in the schools as introduction of Islam. And Surah Al-Fatiha is obviously in there, and that is very important. And then other short surahs that were published. It's definitely a lot easier now. And also with MTA, it opened so many more doors. We had the Khalifa in our house. We get the messages directly. And that was a big step forward for us. Indeed, it was a big step forward.
Our job is to convey the message of true Islam. It's up to that person opens their heart to accept. So I come from the view, I just came back from a trip to Namibia doing tabligh. Our job is purely to convey the true message of Islam. And then make dua that Allah opens their hearts and for them to come forward to us. We do not in any way advocate that you by force or coercion or offering bribes or incentives. We don't operate like that. We operate on ethical, moral, religious and Islamic principles. So what we're doing today is exactly what we should be doing, is using the technology that we have, the social media platforms, the YouTube, the Muslim television, Ahmadiyya, all those resources of us made at our disposal with virtually no cost.
With time, the community never stopped growing. From the single Ibrahim family, it has now evolved into a bigger one.
Without further ado, we'll start with the...
As a missionary, I'm kept busy with a number of activities and visits. But we cannot talk about activities without talking about what the Lajna have been doing ever since.
How are you doing?
MashaAllah, we're a very active Lajna, and They're always ready to respond when we have calls for activities. So we have regular classes. We have once a month Talim and Tarbiyah classes, which we hold nationally, both in person and online. And then we have a second class where we cover some of the other shobat, and that we hold regionally. We try to have a regular physical health activities such as walks. Our last walk we took was in Sea Point. We just had we had some Lajna walk about 6 kilometers, even though it was quite cold that morning. We also include the Nasirat in these activities. In terms of welfare, we've always combined our ability to make items and to donate them. So we regularly crochet and knit beanies and blankets, scarves, mittens, gloves that we then donate to various institutions, most recently to a newborn unit hospital where we donate these things. So we combine some of our activities in terms of our handicraft and our welfare activities. Come on. Come on. Upsy daisy. Here we go. You dropped yours. We encourage our Lajna every single month to write letters to Huzur, to talk to Huzur, to explain what's going on in their lives, to ask for du'as. We also study his sermons in our classes, and we have quizzes based on these sermons, both recent sermons and old sermons as well. So we like to go back all the way to the first and the second Khalifa, look at their sermons, specifically their sermons for Lajna. And there's many of those available. And so we refresh ourselves, and then we do a quiz so that we can refresh ourselves on the instructions.
We have problems every day. We need problems solved every day. We know we can't do it, and that's why we write to the Khalifa, even while you're writing, your problems being solved. So as Ahmadis, we are very lucky. So that's why I tell my children to always keep fast the rope of Khilafat, because that's the only thing we have. If we don't have Khilafat, we have nothing.
And then you get to one step and you write a letter to Huzur, and then Huzur goes forward with this. I wrote a letter to Huzur, I want to do this particular study. Huzur said, go ahead with this. And it helps, because you never knew you could attain these goals.
In this day and age, passing on the values to the next generation is a challenge for many, and also for the community. But all is not dark, as there are encouraging signs for a brighter future. We constantly encourage our young people to have a connection with their spiritual leader, their beloved Khalifa.
The willingness to partake in Jamaat activities and for the love of Jamaat and for the Khalifa has to come from within. The Khalifa is a role model, you know, and there are lots of younger people who have role models. Perhaps they are singers or sports stars or actors. A lot of them do, you know, they express good life lessons such as hard work and patience and determination. But there are many others who, you could say, live a duality in their personal life and their professional life. But the Khalifa, on the other hand, the Khalifa's actions and words are in accordance with Islam. I would like to offer my services to Jamaat. I'm going to study paramedics, inshallah, so I would like to offer my services as a paramedic to the Jamaat.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, yes.
खिलाफत से मुकद्दर दी का गलबा इसी के साथ ही फतह व ज़फ़र है क़यामे अम्म की
Some people may have
some notions about South Africa as a country which is dangerous or unsafe or even backwards, you know. But that is not what I have seen when I came, and the perception of the country itself is completely different as to what one may think before coming or listening to other people talk. And also the Jamaat, the historical Jamaat that we have here, is not going to remain the same. Of course, inshallah, this is the work of Allah the Almighty, and the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in South Africa will have various projects that is currently being worked on for the progress and for the betterment of the community here, both in terms of the members and also in terms of serving humanity as well.
And I see that the next 5 to 10 years, we will most certainly not double, quadruple the number of members that we have in South Africa. That's a guarantee. We are on the right direction. We've got new leadership, new directions. We've got the support of so many different people today. As I said, many people know the Jamaat, will take bayah, but a bit reluctant what about the implications. But we're reaching a point now where the Muslim Judicial Council, the ulama body in South Africa, doesn't have that strong control, because today's students are educated, they have access to all the literature, all the artificial intelligence. Very easy to test whether the person is speaking the truth. So if somebody goes to ChatGPT and says, logically speaking, ChatGPT, if I should follow Christianity or should I follow Islam, the answer would be Islam. Similarly, within Islam, which sect would portray the most logical approach to understanding? It will be the Ahmadiyya Jamaat. So that is why I'm convinced that in the next 5 to 10 years, mark my word, I might not be alive, but I can guarantee you the Jamaat will quadruple, if not more.
देखो खुदा ने एक जहां को झुका
Looking out over the ocean, knowing that this is the last civilization for many thousands of kilometers, it makes you feel small and vulnerable, but also at the same time it makes me feel blessed that Allah gave us this opportunity to carry the message of the Prophet Messiah Islam to this part of the world. That I'm standing here in testament to his message, to his mission.
देखो खुदा ने एक जहां को झुका दिया, गुमनाम पाके शोहरे आलम बना दिया, गुमनाम पाके शोहरे आलम बना दिया। मैं था गरीब बेकसो गुमनाम बेहुनर, मैं था गरीब